Hey, it's Phil from Contemplative Chaos, and thanks for tuning into my channel about parent-child bonding through shared activities. Today I'm going to put on my philosopher cap and reflect on a backpacking trip I did a few months back with my 3 eldest children, discuss how backpacking helps build virtues, and why raising virtuous children is important. If you like this kind of content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Okay, let's get started. It was November, and we hiked Mount Chocorua in New Hampshire with my 12, 10, and 8-year-old. It started off warm, but it got down to 24 degrees at night. We hiked 5 miles to our overnight respite at Jim Liberty Cabin with everything we needed to survive on our bodies. It was tough for my 8 and 10-year-old. We ascended via a typical New England trail with rocks and roots that snaked and zigzagged up the east side of the mountain. It was steep and challenging. And despite the cold weather gear we brought, the frosty air at the higher elevations made their fingers frigid. There were some tears. Was anybody having fun? Honestly, even before the trip, I dreaded the packing and preparation, the long drive, the inevitable forgetting something, the fear of something going wrong, and the discomfort along the trail, not to mention the lack of rest that always went with a sleep in the wilderness. For all these reasons, it seems like backpacking is a miserable experience. Why would anyone want to do it? Never mind bring their children along for the torture. Granted, there are many reasons I enjoy backpacking, like being in nature, majestic views, clean air, but there was something else. Backpacking makes me happy, like really happy. Here's why. To find happiness, we need something that seems to be lost in our current society. It's an old concept, virtues. Virtues are character traits that enable people to live good lives. As an old Greek man said more than 2,000 years ago, true happiness, or eudaimonia, can be obtained by practicing the virtues. Practicing and strengthening these character traits will make people good, happy, and flourishing. Although the opportunities that allow us to live out these virtues typically don't seem pleasant or desirable. They don't seem like things that would bring happiness. Cardinal virtues are courage, justice, prudence, and temperance, and we should strive for opportunities where we can strengthen these character traits, backpacking being one of them. And when kids are taught and live out the virtues, they will be better people, happier people. And that's what the old Greek guy, Aristotle, thought too. By practicing and strengthening the virtues, we may achieve eudaimonia, greater happiness than what the materialism and egocentrism of the world can offer. And it's one reason I believe I enjoy backpacking and keep coming back to it, even after all of these apparent drawbacks. Despite the sore legs, poor sleep on cold nights, long drives, and inconvenience. For this trip, my kids and I were happy. We loved it, and we keep thinking about the next time we'll go. There are opportunities to build virtues everywhere. Sports, social settings, any challenging task. But something about being miles from civilization and no one else to fall back on demands the use of virtues. Let me explain. Courage is required on the trail. To overcome the fear of spending a night out in the woods, far away from home, and missing mom. Although we stick to the well-beaten path, there is always a fear of the dark, wild animals, and not being at home. Even for me, the adult, there was a fear of things being outside of my control. What if someone gets hurt 5 miles from the trailhead? What if you run into a crazy naked person who stalks our lean-to? Seriously, that happened once to Dominic and I in the Catskills. Courage is required to overcome these rational fears and pursue our goals, and is required in all aspects of our lives. My job as a parent is to raise humans who will courageously overcome obstacles and evils of this world. Justice is required on the trail. This may seem like a stretch for the colloquial use of the word justice as impartiality and fairness, but the philosophical sense of justice boils down to the Latin phrase suum cuique tribuere, to give each his own in what is merited. And from that definition, it is obvious. Those who put in the work see the views and enjoy nature more. There are no free rides to the tops of these mountains. And Daddy won't carry anyone up because they don't feel like hiking. There are no participation medals for just attending. They have to carry their weight, literally, with their own sleeping bags, food, water, and snacks. Granted, I'm the figurative mule carrying what I know they can't, but they work for it. And if I forget something, that's on me. We all pay for it. I forgot to bring hot hands on the trip, and frankly, we kind of suffered. But it serves me right. Justice in action. This will hopefully serve them well in life. Prudence is required on the trail. Prudence apparently isn't known about or practiced by many, so here's the definition. It is the ability to use reason and good judgment to make choices and act carefully. Prudence can also be thought of as common sense. This is an understatement. One inquiry on Google about backpacking mistakes will reveal how important prudence is. Lost on the trail, being underprepared for the weather, or not checking the weather ahead of time, not bringing sufficient water or food for the trip, not researching a route, not bringing appropriate gear are common mistakes, especially for the newbies. Sometimes the only consequence is discomfort, but other times it's death. This comes with experience, but often these are preventable mistakes with a little bit of prudence. Although hiking won't teach them everything, common sense can carry over to other aspects of life. Temperance is required on the trail. Also known as self-discipline, temperance is what keeps us going while ascending the steep slopes in rugged terrain. It's what's needed when legs and back are tired, but the camping destination need to be reached before nightfall. Self-discipline is required when the seemingly impossible peak appears out of reach and the kids just want to give up. And this self-discipline, if practiced and strengthened like a weightlifter's muscles, will only grow over time, helping them accomplish tasks that seem too hard for those of lesser character in all different arenas, from academia, business, personal relationships, and family. Okay, I've established that backpacking requires the use of virtues. But who needs virtues? Why bother? Are there other ways of achieving happiness? A shout out to Master Sergeant Seavey, my first supervisor in the military, who told me that most people just want to be fat, dumb, and happy. For some reason, that saying has always stuck with me. Surely, no one actually wants to be fat and dumb, but everyone searches for happiness. But here's the rub. The things that we think make us happy usually just make us fat and dumb, and not happy. The things that society tells us will make us happy are usually devoid of their virtues. Being fat and dumb symbolize pursuing happiness through materialism, egocentrism, and self-indulgence. We often seek happiness by satisfying our carnal desires and relying only on our narrow perspectives for moral guidance. Chasing wealth, pleasure, power, and honor can make us fat and dumb, both literally and figuratively. Lack of self-discipline in our desires leads to physical and mental excess, such as overeating, prioritizing convenience, and avoiding physical work. Mentally, we become dumb by focusing on fleeting, trivial pursuits like the latest tech, viral TikToks, mindless Netflix shows, and biased media that reinforce our views without challenging us. And this doesn't bring happiness. At best, it just makes us dumb, so we don't even realize we're not happy. Kind of like being in a drunken stupor, lost in a fog. And the proof is in the pudding. Research has shown that materialistic values are linked to lower well-being and life satisfaction. People who prioritize wealth, power, and fame often experience fewer positive emotions and greater dissatisfaction. More than ever, as far as we know, people are increasingly dissatisfied with life, and that shows in a mental health crisis, higher rates of depression, which creates this circular problem. The obesity epidemic in America is quite severe. According to recent data, 3/4 of American adults and half of adolescents are either overweight or obese. This means more than 200 million people are affected. Obesity rates have tripled since the 1960s, and currently 23 states have an adult obesity prevalence of 35% or higher. Teens are spending an average of 4.8 hours daily on social media, with platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram being the most popular. This high usage is linked to poor mental health outcomes, and excessive screen time has been linked to changes in brain development, which can lead to internalizing problems like depression and anxiety. Those are pretty serious statistics. As the book of Ecclesiastes says, vanity of vanities, all things are vanity. I think that, despite the apparent unpleasantness of it all, backpacking helps build virtues, and virtues help build happiness. It's something that we can easily share with our kids to make them better and happier people, and hopefully avoid some pitfalls in modern society. And that is true with everything in life that involves virtue building. So get yourself and your kids out on the trail to become happier people. As I said before, virtues are a key to happiness, but not the only ingredient.
Okay, we're back in the car, ready to head back to Connecticut. You guys have fun?
Yeah!
One of my next videos will cover another key ingredient to a happy life, meaning. Subscribe to our channel to join us on that next adventure. Until next time, God bless.